Michella Chester with NCAA Digital. I've got my way too early picks for the 8 teams that will make it to the Women's College World Series this season. Per usual, making some predictions with very little to go off of, but here we go, my 8 for OKC. Starting off, I'm going with Alabama. A few obvious reasons here, but we'll start with the first one. Montana Fouts. The 2021 NCAA Pitcher of the Year returns this season and can 100% lead this team back to the Women's College World Series. We watched her throw a perfect game in OKC last season and lead the NCAA in strikeouts. Plus, this team has a lot of offensive weapons and some added impact players this season, with Bailey Dowling back from injury for 2022. 3 transfers and 6 freshmen. Hard to replace Bailey Hemphill, but I think Bama has what it takes on its roster this season. Next, I feel pretty solid on Oklahoma. The reigning champs, returning the NCAA Player of the Year and home run leader Jocelyn Allo, Freshman of the Year Tiare Jennings, almost their entire lineup that proved to be one of the most lethal offenses in the history of softball last season. And then on top of that, they add an incredible pitching staff that will be led by freshman right-hander Jordan Ball. I'd be more shocked if Oklahoma didn't make it back next season. Oklahoma State is an easy pick as well for OKC. They won't have Carrie Eberle this year, but they return Kelly Maxwell and Miranda Ellish, transferred to the program from Texas after a year off. A renowned two-way player and All-American, this team has created the ultimate prototype for maximizing on transfers and building a championship caliber team out of it. They also picked up Julia Cottrell from Florida and Morgan Day from Illinois State. UCLA is next, even without Rachel Garcia. Megan Faramo returns the 6-0 ace from last season that missed the Women's College World Series due to an injury. According to D1 Softball's Tara Henry, she's likely in the best shape of her career. And then on top of that, you've got an experienced lineup with Maya Brady, Brianna Perez, Aaliyah Jordan, Kinsley Washington. They all return, just remarkably mature in one of the most prolific softball programs. So those are the easy ones, but I'm going with Michigan next, mostly because of Alex Storako and Megan Bobian. I think this is a pitching duo that can make it all the way to OKC. Michigan led the nation with a 1.23 ERA a season ago with those two arms, who accounted for 44 of 46 team starts. Plus, the reigning Big Ten Player of the Year, Lexi Blair, who hit .406 just one season ago, is back. Michigan has got the makings of a team that can go the distance. Last 3. I'm going with Florida next because I think they've got a solid rotation with Elizabeth Hightower, Natalie Lugo, and more, plus a top-notch lineup: Hannah Adams, Charla Eccles, and Skylar Wallace. Eccles batted a team-leading .375 with 15 home runs and 11 doubles last season. Plus, this team looks pretty good defensively. The next 2 were tough picks. You don't want to go too chalk with it, but I also want to pick teams that I really think are championship contenders. I'm going with a Missouri team that returns every single starter from last year, including 7 fifth-year seniors. That creates experience and drive. They have the same 4 arms in the circle, including Jordan Weber, an offense back that finished first or second in pretty much every category in the SEC last season. And lastly, I was absolutely torn between Washington and FSU. Do you go with the 2021 runner-ups to be safe, or take a bold pick with the Huskies? I'm going bold with Washington, mostly because of Gabby playing in her last year in the circle. You might think this is a silly choice since they lost the magnificent trio of Taryn Atley, Sis Bates, and Morgan Flores. But sometimes teams can surprise you, kind of like an FSU team that many didn't expect to make it so far last season. So my last out are FSU, Texas, Arkansas, and Virginia Tech. Let me know who your 8 picks are for OKC, and see you for the 2022 college softball season.